Welcome. You are listening to the Quality Cup Life Podcast. I'm your host, Imani, and here we talk about the pressures of young adulthood, how to overcome them, and how you can allow them to make you stronger so that way you can see your life from your fullness instead of your deficiencies. And honestly, y'all, I feel like people sometimes can underestimate us and what we as a younger generation can do, and then sometimes that is put on us so hard that we start to buy into the lies as well. And it's a no for me, and I hope it's going to be a no for y'all too. So today is a continuation of last week's episode, but this time it's just me, and it's just a little bit more of an elaboration of who I am and my story and what Quality Cup Life is all about. And y'all, please excuse me, my throat is a little dry. And I have had a dry cough for the last few days, so bear with me. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get into the show. All right, so kind of like in part one, as I was saying, I'm from a small town in South Carolina, and I've always sort of, for the most part, have had like a small frame. I've always been kind of easygoing, been kind of kind, maybe a little bit sheltered, and of course I got the baby face too. But unfortunately sometimes people have sort of taken advantage of me and like my personality, and I've had several experiences of people telling me who I was, who I wasn't, who I could be, should be, don't need to do, will do, all of these things. And it just baffled me because I'm like, you guys don't even really know me. I mean, we're in close proximity, but you've never tried to really get to know me. And that just blew my mind. I was like, whoa, like, this is what we do? Am I in the Twilight Zone? Is this real? Am I dreaming? Like, I don't understand. And it just really started to make me sad. And I kind of went to a spiral of sadness and somewhat self-sabotage because of it. And in some of those situations, I did kind of boss up and be like, no, that's what we're not going to do. I'm not who you say I am. And in other situations, of course, I did the opposite, like what I was just saying. And then I started, in those situations, I was doubting who I was and who I could be. And then, and just recently, and when I say recently, I mean recently, I started to accept and realize that this is pretty normal human behavior. This isn't anything new. People do that, and I'm not responsible for another human's projection of who they think I am or their decision about who they think I am and what they think I should be doing and shouldn't be doing. I'm not responsible for that. That's your problem. My problem, I'm responsible for me, Imani. That is absolutely it. I'm not responsible for none of y'all and what y'all got to say about me. And then I also realized that, like, nobody cares. Nobody's interested in really getting to know you like that or making sure that you are as an individual. Nobody gives a rat egg. Like, nobody cares. Nobody gives rat's butts about making sure I'm good. That's why it's so important for us to pour into ourselves first and figure out what's important to us and then live into that boldly. And I also realized recently that me having those negative interactions with people, I started to develop a fear of opening up myself to people and being able to show myself and allow myself to be heard or seen because of those, situations. And I didn't realize in doing so, I was blocking the potential for genuine, healthy relationships with other people because I was so afraid of the negative part. I blocked out the positive opportunities. And that's not good. So I'm still working on those things. And all I ever wanted was genuine relationships with people. And I think that's what most people want, I would say, is genuine, healthy relationships with people who actually love and care about them and want the best for them, and not like them as individuals and not what they think is best for them. Like really getting to know people. And so it really just pumps me up and gets me up in the morning, knowing that people operate so much better once they cultivate healthy relationships and healthy respect for themselves in their own journey, and then knowing that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's completely useless to wish you were somebody else in somebody else's shoes. You need to appreciate your own journey, work through your own challenges, and then go freaking set the world on fire with how amazing you are. And man, it is so important for you to go hard for yourself like you do with anybody else. Like, 'cause some of us, and I say us because me included, I'm working on it too. We sometimes, I'm gonna speak for young adults, we sometimes can go hard for, if we have kids, we go hard for our kids. If we got family members who need something, we go hard for them. We all in, if they need something, let's go. Our jobs, we will sacrifice a lot for our jobs to make sure that our bosses are happy, and meanwhile inside we are sick, we are dying inside, like our souls are withering away, but we like, but my job, and I understand why that's a thing, but go hard for yourself. If that job closes down today, who you gonna be left with? You. You will be left with you. Or if that family member decides not to talk to you anymore, or they got what they needed out of you and they bounce, who you gonna be left with? You. You gotta take care of yourself, and it's crazy how much more you can do for people and be there for people once you have your own self straight, in your own life, your own self, your own self-image. When you're confident in yourself and you have your stuff straight, you can be there so much better for other people. It's amazing. And then it's important to, once you get your own self and your relationship with yourself and just your circumstance in life closer to where you would envision it to be, you can start to see life from a perspective of fullness instead of lack. And it just baffles me how many people I see around me who, not just much older adults, but just people around my age, people in our 20s and early 30s, just see life from a perspective of survival mode, always in survival mode, and not in seeing all the possibilities of life. And that's why I think it's young adult perspective is so valuable and so important in the impact and in shaking up this world, is because we have like this sweet spot of being able to remember what it's like being a kid, and the innocence of being a kid, and the endless possibilities and wonder of being a kid. We can remember that, but also we're also starting to understand the adult world, and like the challenges of that and the pressures of that, and being responsible for all these things and people's expectations and all of that. And I think we're like the perfect bridge for change, and a perfect bridge to bridge those two together and bring those two together, and helping people older than us start to remember what it's like to be a child, and also helping children or younger people, it don't have to be like a kid, maybe a teenager or whatever, to develop themselves into an adult, but not allow those pressures and those expectations to crush them, And man, that only happens when you start to see yourself as the full package. And that to me, that is just so important for this generation, our generation. It's so important. And that's what Quality Cup Life is all about. Bridging that gap, but doing it starting with yourself first. And we do that through mind, body, and money. And in later episodes, I'll unpack more of the mind, body, and money. But in this episode and then the previous episode, I just wanted to talk about what is this all about? Why is it important? And how it can be useful to you, the listener, whether you're around my age in your 20s, I'm halfway through. Whether you're like me, you're halfway through, or you could be still in your teens. Doesn't matter if this is helpful to you, or you could be older. If this can bring you any value, I'm all happy to be there for you and walk you through your journey. And I thank you guys for coming along with me through mine as well. Thank you so much for listening. Love you guys. You're awesome. Have an amazing day and catch you next week. Bye.